Happy Monday, folks.
Happy Monday.
Absolutely.
It's always a good one when we got to do a Monday show. That means we're doing 4 shows this week.
Yeah. And we don't usually do a show on Mondays, and it's always kind of a cool energy. We actually randomly did a show last Monday, and I think the Monday before. So, like I say, we don't normally, and yet
it seems to be becoming the rule.
But it is always neat. It's funny how, and I think this is appropriate for perception and the things that we're going to get into tonight, but it's funny how like the shows get perceived slightly differently depending on the day of the week that we do them. I don't know why that is, but there's a lot of context to the day of the week somehow. You know?
Matt is saying that on Thursday, for some reason, somebody will be talking about cock rings or dildos, and it seems to be and these are physicians, by the way. We're not just pulling this out of our hat.
Yeah, this isn't like porn stars where you're like, oh, that makes sense.
You're looking around the room for one. You probably got one in the background somewhere.
I'm looking. Wait
a minute. Hold on. We might.
It is a nightclub. There might be something.
There might be something.
Corner. I mean,
oh wow! Look at that. That is hilarious. That was
am I looking around for one? There is a surprisingly large amount of dildos around me right now.
Wow! I was not expecting that. So okay.
Jorge, this is not gonna disappoint.
We don't use this one at the sound bath. Although, I don't know, it depends on where how many senses my neurosensory designer wants to stimulate. But like,
I was going to say, we're
always trying to add another sense. So,
well, look, we had this PhD. We had this PhD who does all of her research in sex, and they do, if you wanted to work this into some kind of show, they have a butt plug that measures contractions during orgasm. So if you ever needed another input, I guess.
Yeah.
I like to think of the cloud as this, like, sort of like instrument for amplifying experiences. So we can add more instruments, instruments on instruments, they all amplify.
I mean, they all, yeah. I want to hear all about the cloud, but I got to ask first how you got into this, because I am fascinated by this. By the way, Tom Middleton, we didn't even say hi to you yet. But
hello, I feel like Tom. We just jumped into dildos.
We just jumped into dildos. We just ran away. Well, welcome.
I was going to sort of just chime in and say, funnily enough, we were messing around with the 33 hertz frequency that, this muscle car movement, the big cars with the huge kind of subwoofer kind of sound. So if you look on YouTube, you'll find that there's a really interesting trend on this particular frequency, and let's say ladies sitting on the bonnets of these vehicles producing this particular frequency, and let's say it's inducing the pleasure that one might like.
Well, that's a very different kind of sound bath.
That's a very different kind of sound bath.
We were playing around yesterday, and so now I've got other ideas.
So 33 hertz in particular, didn't we just talk about this, Tom, with the Giza pyramids? Isn't 33 hertz vibing?
Did we talk about this?
I feel like I just had this.
Whoa! I can't believe we could go there as well. So I'm a chematological researcher as well. I've done acoustic science experiments inside the King's Chamber.
Oh, really?
Oh, so you know?
I was oming in the King's Chamber.
What?
Years ago.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
little weird. Yeah, I was sitting there chanting.
Tom, maybe you and I had this in a precognitive state.
Maybe
somehow.
we did.
I don't know.
Maybe we did. I don't. Wow, man.
All right, so clearly this conversation is going to go in a lot of weird directions.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, Jorge, I'd love to hear so I went to art school. I love art school. I taught at art school. I just love the vibe. And I have a feeling that you had like a similar experience that somehow led you here, but I don't know what that could possibly be, because you're into so much cool shit that it's all over the place. And I'm like, all right, how the fuck did you end up here?
It's actually a really roundabout story. Depends on how far back you go. I mean, it started with my jacket being accidentally taken by a guy at a Senate office that then led to tech world. But like the short version of it is that I actually I was the founder of a hardware electromagnetics tech company. So basically I invented a company called Gotenna, which was
I'm aware of this. I was surprised when I saw that on your website. I was like, holy shit, that's the guy.
Yeah.
So Yeah, so and it's because I would get lost at music festivals, and I wanted a way to find my friends. It's effectively a walkie-texty to like really simplify it down, but like, it's electromagnetic waves, multi-hop mesh networking, like jump to jump type radios. And I did that for 7 years, and then effectively I'm a Burning Man stereotype. I went to Burning Man my first time in 2018. It like changed my life. There's a lot of things that were kind of going on, and like I just needed to kind of do something else. I've always been a builder. I've always been, setting parts of my house on fire, building rockets. I was always a builder, but I was never actually like really into arts in any kind of formal way. I liked engineering and science from like a reading about it perspective, but I think I had a really bad physics teacher in high school that like made it terrible. And so I kind of went away from there, even though I had this, affinity for it. So I was a builder, but I didn't really go formally into building anything, whether it was like architecture school or engineering or anything like that. I was basically a neuroscience, biological basis of behavior, and PPE major, philosophy, politics, and economics at UPenn. And then anyway, I started Gotenna because I wanted a way to communicate with when I couldn't, and that forced me to basically self-teach a lot of wave physics around electromagnetics. Propagation, multi-channel, multi-point interference, like all those kinds of crazy things in the electromagnetic spectrum. And then I went to my first burn, changed my life, and I had this, and since music has always been this huge passion, I realized there was two things that sort of took me in this direction. One of them was that I was at all these amazing creative parties and music and all these different things, and I always felt like it was front to back. And I wanted something that was more connected. I realized that when people were dancing in a circle, facing each other, it was just so much more fun and there was just so much more energy to it. So I left the burn, super changed, wanted to bring something as a gift to, kind of give back to this community that did so much for me. And I also saw this insane art piece by a woman from India named Leica Washington. And she basically made this giant moon that looked hyper realistic in the sky. And it messed with your brain so hard. Like, it wasn't the most expensive or most elaborate, art piece at Burning Man in 2018. But in my opinion, to this day, I still think it is one of the most creative and incredible art pieces I've ever seen, because it it kind of inspired my sort of thesis as an artist is that it messed with me because I was looking at the art at two moons in the sky. It literally looked like two moons in the sky, and you would look up at it and be like, what did I take and how much? Because there are two real moons in the sky, and then all of a sudden one kind of moves, because she had it on this weather balloon that was like 300 yards in the air. So it was moving around, and if you're in the right angle, it would either be bigger or slower, or you'd see two next to each other. It was half black, half moon. So the phases would be changing from far away.
Oh,
that's
wow.
cool.
And I think it messed with this like lizard brain deep, like ever since we were amoeba, we're like, there's one moon, right?
Right.
And when there's two, when you mess with something celestial, something in the air, and you create something that is natural but becomes unnatural in some way, I think that messes it's not art that asks people why or what. It's art that makes people ask how. It's like how does that even that even
Right. Yeah. You're having a different kind of reaction. It's not just this is pretty.
Like this is like this shouldn't exist type thing.
Right.
How I wanted to do something in 360. I wanted to do something in music. I saw that moon thing, and then in a state of inspiration, let's call it that.
Code word for a fistful of mushrooms. I get it.
Yeah. These little blue pills.
I came up with Gotenna at Electric Zoo. Not Electric Zoo, at EDC Vegas, also in another state of inspiration. So that's 2 for 2 at this point.
Yeah.
And basically, I had this, I'd seen, I kind of had seen some of those like kind of small cloud type installations, and I thought, well, wait, like I can make those look very realistic. What if I made it sort of gigantic and then filled it with speakers and, made this sort of 360 flying overhead experience? where everyone was underneath, and it's just there's no front to back, like a pure experience that acoustically and visually was identical in every direction. That was the core idea. And then we started realizing that there are major physics problems to actually doing that, because sound does not want to propagate that way, particularly in the low frequencies, which are omnidirectional. And then all of a sudden I started, I had proposals from every single major sound company in the world, all of them, like L Acoustics, Martin Audio, KV2, Void, Function One, like everyone and their mother wanted to be the sound system for this major new art installation that was coming out of Burning Man. That wasn't, like a bus with speakers, but like truly like a different structure. And like we started kind of like, bouncing around with different vendors, different people, and, coming up ideating with ideas. And I can't like go too much into exactly how we made it work, because like the patent hasn't issued yet, but and there was like a version 1, and then we kind of improved it on this version 2 that just released. And that's really the one that's like the patent's coming out on hopefully soon. But effectively, we have found a way to solve for multi-point interference on omnidirectional low frequency bass waves. And that allows us to create this incredible 360 spread of sound where it is pristine in every direction. Like I was walking around with Tom yesterday, or 2 days ago, yesterday, right? Yeah, yesterday. And the sound is even in every direction. We hit frequencies about 30% lower than any other sound system, most any other sound system on the planet, definitely any mobile one for sure. And that infrabass sound is, and the fact that it's spreading out so evenly as a high fidelity platform, like it's ultra high fidelity on every frequency range. There's like almost 10 tons of speakers inside.
Holy shit.
It's fucking awesome.
So like hidden behind the little fluffy exterior there is a massive amount of technology that goes into sort of that theme of like, we don't show it to you. And there's actually a new installation I'm working on right now, which you will see videos of soon, which will once again make people wonder how in God's green earth is that happening. And that's the thing. So you walk in here, you see this giant sparkly UFO looking thing, and the sound is amazing, and you start looking around, looking for speakers, looking where this thing's coming, and then all of a sudden, like, wait a second, the sound is like raining down from above in this volumetric 360 sphere of sound that no one has ever experienced. Not only just like the frequencies of the sound, but just the very effect of it coming down that way, where it's like washing down on you.
Interesting.
It feels very different from being impacted from the front. It's like a full body experience in all directions at one time. And people have like, I didn't set out to do that. It was more like we ran into physics problems to create something like this. And a lot of the experience I'd had at Gotenna, plus some really smart engineers that we're working with that, knew way more about this than we did. But, in that back and forth, we figured out how to do it, and it's really magical. But again, it was meant for parties and festivals and like electronic music, my passion. Did that for the last 7 years. We've, people were lining up around the block to play on it. We've had multiple Grammy Award winners play on this.
Wow.
And, we have been selling tickets all over the country as an experiential, like, electronic music concert experience, I guess, without even announcing our lineups. Like, we would just, because we have, such a good history of curation from Burning Man and all of our shows, like, people just sort of know what, they trust us to a certain extent, and they come in not for, DJs on a flyer. They're coming in because they want something radically different and new. And for the last 7 years, we have entertained hundreds of thousands of people have experienced this, a combination of Burning Man and, 10 different cities around the US, multiple productions all over, again, in the music space. Then it's funny because then this kind of goes into what was going on with Tom. Now, we did some minor testing I've always kind of thought that there was more that we could do with this. It's this massive entertainment AV system. And it's almost like I was only playing thrillers on it, right? Like, couldn't we also, I don't know, do some independent cinema, a rom-com, whatever, right? Like, there's other kinds of programming, I kind of call it the IMAX for social experiences, where what if we do different things and we take this tool, this technology, this artwork and technology in one, and rechannel its power in different directions? And we did a little bit of a test, and we did some testing in private in Atlanta and some other cities. And this was like just nowhere near as planned. It was like a guy, super nice guy, but a guy with like the crystal bowl and like a bongo.
Right. Yeah.
And I just had people sitting, because I had just had one extra day, like on 2-3 different cities, where I kind of was just like, I was peeking at it, right? Trying to understand, maybe we can do something. And with just no promotion, no nothing, private, people came out of there after lying on a trampoline, which is not what we're doing now, saying that it was one of the most profound experiences of their entire lives. And that it was like just incredible. And I just started thinking more like, okay, maybe there is something here. But I'll be honest, even though I'm a Burning Man guy, a lot of people assume that I'm like very woo-woo and, like, it's the vibes, bro, like, whatever. And don't get me wrong, I do believe in magic, but like, I am very scientific. I am very engineering, focused. And it just didn't really resonate with me to like, I don't know. I felt like if I were to sell this and if I didn't truly believe in it myself, I would feel like a snake oil salesman. And I was at the Amsterdam Dance Conference this year, and we were, talking a bunch of different things. And I sat in on a session that Tom was a speaker at. And it was Tom, this person from Endel. It's kind of like the Calm, sound app.
I have that app on my phone. Yeah.
So it was the CPO for Endel, Tom, and DJ Anna, who's a very famous DJ that just came out with like a more relaxation type album. Room was full. Tom was like really talking the science. Like, I could tell like Tom was the science guy, had all of his like MRI scans, all the different things that they'd been finding. And I was like, okay, this is impressive. And I'm working on this other art piece just for fun for Burning Man, which I can't reveal right now because I want it to be a surprise. But it was related to, it is related to certain frequencies. And I'd heard, some of these things where people are like, 433 megahertz is like the frequency of love, or I don't know. All right. I'm not going to bash anyone. I am just going to say a lot of things in the world I am not aware of. There are things that so I'm not going to pretend I know everything, but I raised my hand in the middle of Tom's session because I'm that kind of guy. I'm like this. I'm like, they call me because I don't know, whatever. And I'm like, hey, I basically said that. I was like, look, I've heard all this. Tell me the truth. Is this bullshit? Like, is this actually real? Is this science? Because if I'm going to build an art installation that is using some of these different frequencies to help people feel better, which is different from what we're doing here, that's more of like a sculpture I'm creating, like an interactive sculpture. And he gave me a really honest answer. It wasn't like, oh yeah, 100%. He said, look, there's an incredible body of evidence. There's a ton of research from a bunch of different universities, but some of the challenges are that there are a lot of these snake oil woo-woo type things that, co-opt it and don't do it professionally. But there's also a lack of large scale, statistically significant, reproducible data that, in a controlled environment where you can control everyone's exposures en masse and actually track the effects on their bodies. And, as a guy with a background in like neuroscience, stuff like that, I was like,
it's all like,
that makes sense. Yeah, that's 100% ringing. Yeah.
I was like, okay, this guy doesn't sound like he's full of shit. And then at that moment, I started thinking, sorry, can I curse on this? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
We open with dildos, man.
Yeah, like,
do what you got to do. I mean, like the horse is already out of the barn, man.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll keep going. So I went, and then I had this idea in my head. I'm like, wait a second. I have this unique, massive 360 sound system that's good for up to 2,000 people at a time with concentric circles of rings. We could sit 1,000 people, even in a 1,000, 1,500 people in a seated environment around this thing. And because our sound is even and measurable, obviously, further away, it's a little bit weaker, but not by a lot. It's measurable. Everyone within one ring is getting the equal exposure,
like literally equal. Yeah,
exactly. So like, I was like, wait, and I've always had this science bend. So I came up to him, and I think my first words to Tom was like, I'm going to be your new best friend. I said something along those lines. He's like, what? He's like, they were being like hounded by everyone at the end of like the session. And then I talked to him about this idea to start doing a actual medical research study, controlled environment. And we're still working on that, like on the side, on some of our off hours that we're going to try to do as well with some university partners that Tom has brought in too. So that's like a side project we're working on. But because we want to actually advance the science and the research of this so that, again, like there's MIT, Harvard, National Institute of Health, like there is a massive body of evidence, but it's still a lot of anecdotal, a lot of, you really need to get into those mass numbers till it's something that, hypothetically, an insurance company could, this is what Tom was saying, right? It's something about like, the vision is like, if we can prove that, 20 minutes of X sound thing actually reduces anxiety by Y, then maybe people don't have to get prescribed, like, alazapram, Xanax, maybe the doctor says, take a 30-minute session of Calm app or Endel or whatever, 3 times a day, and your insurance is now covering, your sound bath, or maybe it pays for your tickets to.
Yeah, right.
You know how I know Tom's British? Because he hasn't cut in once yet. Okay. he's just been polite, being quiet back there.
I'm taking Tom's things here. Anyway, so just to finish the story, so I'm going to let Tom talk more about the science and all that, and then he's going to take over. And then we kept in touch, and I got this, and then he started making me think about, really, now I realize that there was somebody that actually knew the science, that actually was real, that wasn't BS, like that's what I needed to say, okay, this is someone that I trust putting, kind of our reputation for being, old, like we don't, we only do good, right? Like whether it's in the music space or other different places, like I would rather under promise and over deliver on any production I do. And honestly, like just the opportunity and like the wellness space is huge, we already have it. And then that sort of triggered this entire cascade of new experiences that we're doing. But the one I honestly am most excited about is the 15-ton sound bath, which is what we're doing. And just high level, and then I'm going to turn over to Tom and probably not talk for a while, so just to explain how it is. So it's basically, we have these these like NASA designed zero grav chairs that put you into that like reclined position with the legs slightly elevated. You can kind of see them over there.
Yeah.
God, that thing's fucking massive.
17 of these right under the cloud, under its primary pressure column. And people are going to be reclined in it. They can, they'll have eye masks if they want. And then we have this entire science-based ritual from the way in and out. So people will come in. I can't reveal all of our secret sauce, but there's this, they get kind of like like a calming, food and beverage type thing, legal. Completely legal.
legal or legal in DC, because there's a bit of gray in that space.
Completely legal. It's like a nootropic. Like we're giving them look, whatever I can go into. So like we're doing this like hypermicronized like L-theanine and like standard stuff, right? Like it's like there's real science, right? Like I'm not gonna go and give someone shit they don't know, right? And then they come do the experience, and then on the way out, we give them like another kind of, relaxation type nootropic drink as well. So it's a whole journey, that starts pre and post experience with a decompression. But, the magic, the power, the whole, it's also got some scents and different things that we're putting in there. But like all of that sound and color and, the scent design, all that stuff, I'm following Tom's lead because he knows what's up. So I will stop my monologue here, which apparently has gone quite a long time.
No, man. This was great, man. I just,
that was perfect.
Wow.
So not quite the art school route I thought. I'm glad we got into that, you know.
No, Burning Man stereotype. My technology is now mostly used in like public safety and military.
Yeah, it's funny.
And now I roll around with a giant
UFO and reclining chairs.
Basically, yeah.
Wow.
So Tom,
Yeah, Tom, how'd you get started?
How'd you get into this? This shit's kind of niche, man.
It's very niche.
Ready for a laugh?
Yeah.
So I went to art school. That's
fucking hilarious. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So long story short, I, as a child, I remember being sat in the stereo sweet spot between some incredible, if you've heard of electrostatic speakers that Tannoy made. So they look like radiators. And so imagine a beautiful kind of Lynn Sondek. My dad was an audiophile, so he was really into celebrating the quality and purity of sound. And as a sort of 6-year-old, he sat me in the sweet spot, listening to an album by Isao Tomita, a Japanese artist who used synthesizers to recreate classical, like cover versions of classical music.
Wow.
And this one album called Snowflakes Are Dancing, which is Claude Debussy's music, replayed through synthesizers. And I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. That moment as a sort of 6-year-old, just listening to stereo sound that's so ethereal. And to this day, I don't think anyone's absolutely peerless. You can't hear any music that sounds anything quite like what Isao Tomita was able to achieve.
Oh,
that
truly.
sort of stuck with me. And then
we're gonna go there. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Not one
Nothing
thing.
at all. Not any 15-ton sound bath or anything.
Well, so yesterday, obviously, was my first intro to this new experience, and mind absolutely blown. So I've been lucky to experience sound in various different formats, arrays, and technologies over the years. Just interested in, generally curious, how can we deliver more viscerality, more emotionality, and I think. The fluffy cloud is the next level of this, of everything I've experienced. I mean, yes, surround immersive experiences are great, but this is different. This is taking you from the psychoacoustic heard sound effect to a vibroacoustic felt sound. So you are in the sound. You become part of the vibration itself. This is novel, and there's nothing else. I mean, yes, you could stand in front of a speaker stack, but the way this has been designed is incredibly smart. I'm almost imagining, when you were talking earlier on about almost like a toroidal vortex of sound, and I'd love to kind of set up a sort of cymatic bath underneath it so we can actually visualize it, because the delivery, if you were to be able to see these vortices of frequency and sound as they're actually kind of being deployed, and because low frequency information, these are huge waves, a one cycle is massive, hence why you kind of hear sub bass through thick concrete walls,
right?
Whereas you don't hear the top frequencies. So I got interested in sound and music, classically trained orchestral cellist, pianist, guitarist. At school, got really bored with all that, found the one synthesizer in the music room, and then fell in love with that. And as a sort of child of growing up in the 70s and 80s, it was synth pop and electro, Kraftwerk, to being a b-boy, and then surfing and skating into acid house, techno, drum and bass, rave. Learnt the ropes from Richard James, the Aphex Twin, like literally in his bedroom, suspended speakers, took the lids off synthesizers and basically changed the potentiometer range of a synth from what was basically human hearing range, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Richard James, the Aphex Twin, wasn't happy that these Japanese engineers had kind of created this sort of like limitation. So he turned the Roland SH-101 into basically like a frequency sound lab, down into like 1 hertz all the way up into kind of ultrasound essentially. So I always tell these lovely stories of, we're kind of messing around with sound and frequencies. Bats are kind of bumping into the windows. Dogs are screaming and shagging.
Your jewelry is all of a sudden shinier. You're
exactly.
like, why is
And, we've got suspended speakers and then kind of the cones doing this at 1 or 2 or 3 hertz. that's delta wave brainwave entrainment.
Yeah.
At the age of
Interesting.
18, we're messing around with like frequencies in his bedroom. Didn't even know what we were really doing.
And this doesn't require binaural at that rate, right? You have the pure frequency.
You're there, like literally. You know, the speakers are here, and you're being exposed to that. So that was, if you like, my onboarding into the magical world of sound and creation. And I loved dancing to music, and eventually I started collecting records, DJing. Set up a label, met my first musical partner, Mark Pritchard, and we had a run as Global Communication, the Jedi Knights, Secret Ingredients, Chameleon, covering everything from electronic, ambient, techno, house, drum and bass. And then I guess you could say I felt a bit of an imposter touring around the planet, being given the sort of joy of playing to people, but I was quietly observing the effects of sound on people. So I was playing to millions, 58 countries. What's happening when I play this piece of music? What effect am I, let's say, anecdotally observing? So I've been effectively gathering data as an observer of sound and frequency and its impact on the human nervous system for decades without realizing it, under the guise of a DJ.
Yeah.
Hard pivot, got really burnt out. Retrained as a sleep science coach, started a master's in neuroscience and psychology of sound.
Wow.
And so, it was all about, can I now apply what I've observed, creating a landmark ambient album, Global Communication 7614, that, a lot of people say that was one of the moments in the early 90s that transformed, this emotionality of sound and music and connecting with the self, with others, with nature. And it just got me thinking about, can we measure and reproduce effect with what we know? Dig deep into the literature, where we're at now, and there's an exponential curve of interest into the therapeutic effects of music now. We're up to 44, 55,000 pieces of research.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
It's just getting more and more interesting. People loving the idea that we've been using and deploying sound, if you want to call it a technology, for millennia. From the first bone flute to the bang on the skin of a drum, communication, storytelling. And here we are now in 2026. I met Jorge, and there's a whole new platform to tell new stories, but through the lens of neurosensory design, which is what I'm doing now, is can we use sound socially responsibly, ethically, to create an outcome that's measurable, reproducible, and, let's say, transformative, using what we do know about different frequency range and spectrum. We all know about things like anticipation, the neuroscience, the cognitive neuroscience of how we perceive music, how we process it, how it triggers memories. It lights up the whole brain. It's magic stuff. So could we create, if you like, a range of audio therapeutics, audio analgesics to reduce pain, audio anxiolytics to reduce anxiety, audio sedatives and hypnotics for sleep induction, and then audio nootropics for all the other fun stuff with the devices that you just showed me earlier on, Jorge. Yeah. So entertainment and pleasure. So if you think of the spectrum of outputs from an experience, and then building in all of these sensory modalities, you've got a congruent, full-blown immersion. This is for me, a playground. I mean, I'm rubbing my hands yesterday.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like a mad scientist, because this is a platform that I don't think anyone that's making or creating with sound, if they were given access to this as a platform, they'd be going, what can we do with this? Because it's not just for entertainment. This is like a new immersive therapeutic platform. That's the way I'm kind of viewing it.
But I
got so many thoughts on this, man.
Yeah, so many thoughts. I think what I'd like to just reflect on, I guess, is one is I went to college in the 90s, high school in the 90s. And so every time I went to a rave, that was music therapy 100%, in real time, right? I didn't need a fucking study to tell me that why people in this room were a little happier than people not in this room. You know what I mean? It felt just I don't know, common sense to me, I guess is the right word. I just instantly knew. And you guys are techno, or as EDM, whatever the cool kids are calling it these days. Like it's just funny. Half the shit my son listens to at 17, I have on my iPhone from my CDs and records from the 90s that are on my fucking phone. So I think it's hilarious.
You got a tape.
Yeah,
you got a cassette.
But like what I really like about it is, especially since Tom and I started this show, we actually have had a great privilege of talking to neuroscientists and people doing brain entrainment and all kinds of frequency work, all kinds. And now it's funny that we have vocabulary to describe that stupid rave I was at in 95. You know, like why did we feel
I was going to say you took a couple of ravers to a fucking PhD level. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys elevated everything behind that. And then the other thing is like, of course you can fucking fuck with moods, right? Matt felt it in the 90s, and it's like you guys are playing like digital shamans right now. Like that's you're now creating an experience. Like I got into this weird fucking series called Skinwalker Ranch, right? And it's a whole ranch and there's aliens and shit, right? And they have one indigenous historian come out and he goes, yeah, this is a portal right here, right? No, you open it with sound. Right? It's just a stone carving of a circle. And here I am staring at your fucking fluffy cloud going like, oh shit, it's spiraling. And I'm like, this is the coolest fucking thing ever because it's a culmination of so many conversations Matt and I have had.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that it's obvious because like, I mean, you think about it, if someone is, doubtful of this, is just think about movies. You got movies that make you music. If music can make you feel sad, everyone knows happy music. Everyone knows sad music. Everyone knows what Hans Zimmer does, and John Williams, whatever. So like, it's obvious that we are fundamentally, I want to say the word vulnerable, but like affected by sound. And the question is, and that's where Tom and a few other people have been super advanced in, is that. Maybe it's not just happy and sad. Maybe it's
everything.
The full
else.
spectrum of emotion. Yeah.
It's all of it. And I'll be honest, like I still wasn't 100% sure. Cause like I've, and again, and just to also, give Tom some, credit, he probably won't say it himself, but like a lot of these apps, like, Calm and End on all this, he designed a lot.
Oh shit, dude.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Like he has designed some of the, cutting edge neurosensory work for Calm, Endel, Jaguar, Apple. Like these things are being done at certain cutting edge, corners of the world in a very subtle way. And, I was still not 100% sure. And then like yesterday, he was just testing some sounds. And my entire team, including me, just started yawning. We started feeling really I was like, what's going on? Like,
God damn it, Tom, shut the music off.
It's working.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. So this is going to be like the first one that we're doing, right? Tom, had to come in to like really feel what the system could do yesterday. And now he's like, deep into like the design tweaking of the things and all of his experience. But, looking forward, everything he's saying about, whether it's, pain relief or, an actual, maybe more of a nootropic type effect and all those things, this is the beginning, right? We're going to be searching and seeing how things work. And, we're going to have it here in DC and we're going to have it in different cities. And, hopefully it's something that, we can really give people a very positive effect where they go in there at, this level of anxiety and then we can bring them down. And at the same time, do some research that, starts bringing this more into the mainstream as opposed to, again, it's just, I think there's just sometimes been a lot of like co-opting of the power of music by people that don't truly have the scientific rigor to like they see that it works and, and they can make a business out of, doing, something there. But then, if you don't, as Mythbuster said, the difference between fucking around and science is writing it down.
Yeah.
And, I think that's what Mythbuster said. Like, I truly believe in that. And like, that's what we're going to be trying to do here. And again, that's why I'm really excited to have Tom, helping us put all this together.
So Tom, you love the canvas that you were just handed. This thing looks like it's right up your alley.
Oh my goodness! Like
Yeah.
kid in a candy store. Are
Sure.
you kidding me? I mean, it's literally like to have access to a multi-sensory roaming environment that could literally impact millions around the planet.
Sure.
If it's franchised out. The fact that we're now quite excited about new types of meaningful or inducing experiential opportunities is great. I'm involved with the World Experience Organization. It's great to sort of see what's happening in the world of experience, but immersive experience through that therapeutic lens is new, it's fresh. And I think designers of experiences really need to kind of wake up to the fact that they should have this sort of duty of care that not only is it entertaining and awe-inspiring, but art can be healing and therapeutic. It's a triple win, right? And
Yeah.
to come out feeling better. I was just going through the notes of the thing we've been talking about. It's really interesting if you kind of rewind to sort of tribal culture and then obviously the connection to club culture. We have been raving for millennia. If you think about, dancing together as a tribe with rhythmic drums and pulses around something that's light, a fire, possibly taking things to assist with that experience. It's not alien to us. So the evolution of tribal community connected experiences has to evolve with the technology, and pioneers and visionaries like Jorge, who've rethought how to deliver in a new kind of format, is what we need. I mean, you go to these festivals and you go, yeah, big screen, all very well, lots of nice, flashy big screens, but actually thinking about how you can deliver sound and frequency in a novel way is new. I mean, to me, I've not seen anything like this. At the moment, it's about surround sound. So, even in clubs and Atmos systems are still quite new, because actually most artists don't really know how to mix correctly in surround sound to deliver.
It's funny, I have an Atmos receiver here, and when people fuck up the mixing, it's very obvious. And it's funny because it's probably not obvious, but because I've been around it. Look, in like 96, I think I went to the Wiz, and bought the first 5.1 system and a hi-fi VCR so that I could plug it into there. And I watched the fucking Lion King. And the opening scene where he's holding up the fucking line, it's like the whole thing, and you have this one thump, and it's like this Savannah crush. That thing rumbled my room at my parents' house like nothing I'd ever seen before. And it was basically a BCAD moment for me. I was like, okay, before this was something, but everything that comes after this is completely fucking different. That led to me in taking a year off my company and installing home theaters and all kinds of shit. And by the way, the electrostatic Martin Logans from like 2002 or something, those fucking things were life-changing too. You're like, how is this happening out of these fucking things? And then last year I went to the Sphere for the first time. And like now I have sulfur being blown in my face, seat rumblers, 360-degree speakers. And I was like, dude, these fucking people did it again. Like we've just gone now. I'm like, fuck, now this is the next thing. You're like, and I love all of it. It's just like so good. But my buddy down the street won a bunch of money on being smart. And he went out and bought a very expensive, like $500,000 system. And we just played a regular 2-channel, not even multi-channel. His speaker wires are these like zero impedance things that are like 12 inches. Yeah. And we just put a Jack Johnson CD in, and from track to track, you can hear the different sound engineer. That because when your fidelity gets that high, you're like, I hear every single thing. And I was like, and it's the same thing. I don't have words for it like you do, but I hear all these things with sound. I'm like, that makes me feel better than that. That like the decisions we made audio different here than here. And this is better. Let's go that way. Let's do more of
I
that.
tell all my DJs, make sure you have your tracks mastered, because you make a mistake on this thing, everyone can hear it.
Amplifies
Everyone
it. Yeah.
can.
Better be on your game, sober,
And
ready.
probably a million times more on something like this, I would imagine, right? I mean,
I was just thinking yesterday. This is now a new challenge for mixing, because the low frequency extension, it's so profound that you want to kind of pull down all of the kind of my tracks that sound freaking great, for users of Calm, for example. They're not going to work on this system because they've been mixed and mastered for headphones.
Sure.
So this is a whole new discipline of mixing and creating content for a platform like this. And I'm so excited because essentially I can pull down all of that mid and top stuff, and we can just allow the low end to really do the magic. So you can have an experience where we don't want people coming out with tinnitus. We want it to be that warm kind of sonic duvet, just all encompassing.
That's a great word.
Sonic duvet. Oh my God! If that's not a fucking ambient
Tom,
band.
Yeah. I got a nerd question for you, Tom. Do any of like the Abletons or Reapers or any of these things, do they even have tools that go down to those frequencies? Because like nobody else can reproduce that.
Well, it's really interesting because we've kind of locked ourselves a little bit into human hearing range perception, because why would you need to go?
Well, that's right. Yeah.
In infrasonic and ultrasonic, you don't, because you don't hear, but you do. And the fact that analog is way up, it's all the frequency range. Just the fact that your ears don't necessarily perceive from a kind of psychoacoustic perspective doesn't mean that the vibroacoustic effect is not there and present. So if you're removing, rolling off everything underneath 20 hertz, you're missing a whole lot of information, as well as above 20 kilohertz. So for me, a system that is like recalibrated to, almost like natural reproduction of sound at source means that now the composers and designers of sound on a system like this can really go for it. Because if you think of things like when I record waterfalls, for example, or wave sounds, if you zoom in on a sort of a spectrographic version of it, you'll see all this information that's low frequency that you can't hear, but it does something when you
you feel it.
You're feeling it. So this is the whole point. This is felt sound. This is the transduction of low frequency information that into your core of your body, your cells will actually be resonating and vibrating sympathetically, harmonically, in tune with this. And that's what I'm kind of dialing into here. Just to quickly go back to surround sound, we commissioned a paper for Platoon, Apple Music, on surround sound. Why? And what are we missing here? It's the power of presence. So the more authentic the delivery of sound is in a space, the more believable it is, the more present you become, the more grounded you become, the more effective the delivery of that sound is. And this is where, something like this, this is live, real, immersive experience in a way that's never been delivered before. I mean, yesterday, there was a moment where we were sort of standing underneath it, and I was dialing in one of the frequencies. It's sort of between 40 and 50 hertz. And we couldn't actually hear ourselves speaking. Like it was doing a noise cancelling thing.
That's funny.
And the other thing it was doing was almost making us sound like robots. It was freaking weird. I've never experienced anything quite like that. So I'd like to think that this is the start of a long and beautiful relationship where we try and we test. We bring in neuroscientists, neurotechnologists, and we measure the effect of exposure, specific frequency bands in the context of music. But what can we actually capture here? And then what can we reproduce that we know is actually going to be safe? Because let's be Hippocratic about this. Do no harm. Because this system, believe me, could do some major damage.
Wow.
Brown note.
Our new experience called the 15-ton anxiety bath.
Yeah, exactly. Right. This will be, people will be flooding to come to you. Yeah.
I was going with Tom there on the brown noise. If you could get a room full of constipated people.
Yeah.
It's funny how it is what he's talking about, but like a lot of this it's the mechanoreceptors in your skin that are picking up the infrasound. It's your vestibular system in your ear. That's why people have also given us comments even during our concerts where they're like, gravity, has felt weird, and like it's just sometimes your sense of balance goes off a little weird. Like if you're lying down, it feels like you're. That's why I think a person told us in one of our tests that they felt like they were flying because they were lying down, and then some of these. Because here's the thing, our sound system can go down to 22 hertz. Most, like I'm talking festival club level sound systems, they roll off at 35. 22 to 35 is a massive difference.
I would expect, especially on the visceral side, right? Like
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and most people roll off around 35 or 32 to 30, maybe 32 for the really, really, really high end ones. Because under that, it just takes a lot of power. It's very heavy. You need very big equipment to do it. I'm not saying that there isn't anywhere else in the world that can hit, the same frequencies that we do, but it's very rare to find. Definitely not touring, not in the format and the block that we have, as this overhead system. And that is what, like that power, like you're never going to get that from headphones. I mean, maybe your friend with the $500,000.
No. You're not.
But like you really do need heft. Like there's a certain, like you are moving. It's a physics problem. Going back to physics is like, if you're going to move enough air to, because that's where the energy is being, transmitted. That's the medium, right? It's at the end of the day, it is the motion of air particles is effectively all we're doing, right? At different levels of energy. And if you're going to move them enough to transmit that energy from here across the inverse square law of, X distance, where you're going to lose a ton of your power, and then still then penetrate into not just, the ear, which is designed to, vibrate, but the skin, which is more, looking for presence. Like we were talking about it with some other, with some engineers that were talking about, some of our original designers. We're like, just trying to understand, like, why is it that being under the cloud feels so different for everything that we're doing? And one of our running theories right now is that the effect it has actually on your body, across mechanoreceptors and vestibular system and whatnot, those actually move. So those are processed in a deeper part of like in a more kind of reflex part of your brain, while audio and sound is a higher kind of, I don't know if I'm using the right brain part, cortex. It's more it's more like the prefrontal cortex or whatever it's called, the more advanced one, but that's the one that takes time. Like that's the one that you are analyzing the information. But what's on your skin, right? Like what you're feeling on gravity and your skin itself and your body, that is a more core kind of reflex. And what we were thinking, the current theory as to why this feels so crazy is that signal gets, when you have multiple sensory inputs coming in from your ear, from your skin, from the, your hairs, like everything, and it's going to, and they're moving all in tune to frequency X. Then the music is arriving at your ear at the same time, but you don't process it till afterwards. By the time that processing happens, your body has already decided I'm in something, right? Like I am in, and that's why we kind of call it sound turned space. Just from all the people where they're like, I feel like I was flying, gravity felt weird. It was like swimming through sound. It just constantly is the feedback we get from people. And it's different. Everyone puts it in different words and it's very hard to explain, but that's this like kind of overpowering, overwashing system coming down on people. But again, not being too high, being careful that, we're not giving people tinnitus. I'm like a Nazi about that. Like I do not allow this is like, I don't want my ears to hurt, right? Like I've had DJs that come in and they're like, where are the monitors? I'm like, there are no monitors. Like you're in the center, 60, everyone's around. And if you're
can't
deaf,
hide from anything here, people.
I'm like, you're deaf, that's your problem. I'm sorry. Like, put on, mix in your headphones or something, but like, we're not cranking this up to a point where, so it's not that it's loud. It's that it's powerful.
Sure.
If that makes any sense. It's like truly visceral. And then, again, it worked with the friggin' parties. We put this instrument of, multi-sensory stimulation in the hands of someone who, like Tom, who has, had years of experience just seeing it on the music side, and now years of experience as like a true scientist, researcher, producer of these experiences. If Tom can make this work, and make it work with like little headphones, across so many of these, leading experiences, I cannot wait to lie down under this thing, because I definitely could use a little anxiety relief.
Sure.
and some sleep as well. So
Sleep, yeah.
I was going to say, one of the funniest things, the paradox of being a designer of music that helps millions of people sleep every night. Try staying awake composing sleep music.
That's funny. So
think of me like Tom and Jerry with the matchsticks in eyes.
Yeah.
Like, keep your eyes open. Yeah.
Over the mouse, like trying to stay awake. I know when it's working, because I'd be like 3-4 in the morning and just kind of like nodding, drooling, like, okay, something's working here. I'm feeling that relaxed. I just wanted to kind of double down on the science part, because it's really, really interesting, and this is the stuff that I think a lot of people don't know about, would love to. So it's whole system processing. Auditory cortex is hearing, somatosensory cortex is the feeling, limbic system is emotion, and then the brainstem is the autonomic response, which is basically nervous system. That's what this platform is able to deliver beyond other systems, because you've got all of that creating this whole system engineered.
Oh, the light too, by the way. We haven't even talked about the light.
Yeah, exactly. You've got optics. Yeah, of course.
Tom, go for it, Tom.
Yeah, and there's olfactory. We're playing with, I'll call it aromacology, if you don't mind, not aromatherapy, so we can avoid the woo-woo. We've got aromacology.
Got it.
And chromacology, not chromotherapy. So it's scientifically influenced decision-making on particular wavelengths of color. So for the 15-ton sound bath, we're dialing in circadian safe lighting colors, which is really important, because we don't want you to kind of get a boost of cortisol. We want the melatonin to be kind of gently massaged in the right way. So these sort of things are details that I don't think people in the current sort of world of experiential entertainment are really dialing into yet, but they will, trust me.
Well, they're doing the dumb version, which is like, let's put a bunch of LEDs at it and we'll blink.
Or let's put on a pair of blue blocking light, sunglasses, and call it a day.
And I do think that, like, Tom and I play with a tool called Neurovisor. We like it a lot, and I use it every day. But like, are you familiar with it? Yeah. Yeah. I fucking love this thing. It does everything it says it's supposed to do. Maybe it's a placebo effect. I don't know. I don't care.
Maybe we've just tried so much shit that we love everything.
Yeah. But like, but sitting there with like good headphones in and meditating for 20 minutes in that light, like, I'll call that a light bath, because it does take over your entire field of view. You can't see anything but the lights. Is like one of my favoriteest things in the fucking world. So if you're telling me I could sit under your thing in a 0G chair and just like soak in the bath, I'm like, yes, I'll do that all day. Are you kidding me?
Sounds fucking perfect, which is why when the fucking Instagram ad popped up, I'm like,
are you listening to me,
Matt? we gotta call these guys. I gotta get them on.
Can you make this smaller, guys? Like, does it have to be room size like that, or can it be like?
Some of the core technology can be made smaller, but not a lot smaller.
Okay.
So how big is the space this is in right now? I mean, this is a big club, right?
This is like a multi-use art space complex. So it's like the current space we're in is about 10,000 square feet.
Oh wow! So that thing's fucking big.
Yeah, it's hard to get the full scale.
So the top of there is that's 20 feet tall.
Oh,
shit.
Oh, let me go stand next to it.
So that thing is actually big. Oh, Jesus.
Oh yeah, it's
holy shit.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Wow.
Yeah, it's not fun size.
No. You're like, there's like two at least of you
that
tall.
is crazy.
With your arms above your head. Yeah. So
and the fact that it kind of moves up and down.
5'11" and a little bit, like just enough to lie, and that just enough to round up to 6 and not feel like a liar.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like it's big. It's 20 feet tall, 25 feet wide. It weighs roughly around 15 tons. Fully kinetic. moves up and down.
Oh shit!
Bunch of other special effects that we will be debuting very soon as well. So there's some new stuff that's coming out for the first time ever, and we're doing some decorative elements right now.
So Tom, another nerd question: when you're recording source audio for this, is it basically, because of your frequency range, is it basically mostly synthetic noise only versus like, do you have microphones that can pick up that low or that high?
Well, interestingly, there's this, some lovely words I'm going to drop now. So let's go back to basics now. The soundscape, the ecology of soundscape design is really, really interesting to me. You've got the ground foundational layer, which is geophony, which is earth-created sounds. Mm-hmm. The layer above that is biophony, which is creature sound. Then you've got anthropophony, which is human-made sounds, some of which is intentional, some unintentional, some you could say is music, some you could say is noise pollution. So I'm always interested in ways to capture geophony and biophony in the most honest, pure way possible. So contact mics, anything that's sort of beyond, let's say, the normal music studio recording techniques.
Right, okay.
I'm up for that. Just bring it on. I want to go as high fidelity as possible.
Coming next in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We could. That's the thing. Like, we can do anything. Like one of the things that we were going to do, but we ran out of time, is I was going to launch something I was going to call the 200,000 watt cinema, probably next city, who knows, where we're going to be remastering Interstellar to actually,
that's funny,
some of the extra low frequencies, and like imagine watching, Interstellar underneath this thing with like a big screen on the other side.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But so just a quick one. The organ that Hans Zimmer recorded, you can't really experience that unless you're underneath that, or you go to the Royal Albert Hall and hear him play it back live there, for example. So the lowest notes of a church cathedral organ could actually be properly experienced with the fluffy cloud.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Yeah, I heard somebody play the organ at the Tabernacle in Utah, and like the bass pipes on that are like houses. They're massive, and I'm like, fuck that. It's like such an undescribable sound.
It's the only way you can move air. That's the thing. That's why this thing is so massive, is because
you need it. Yeah, you need that. Because like I see this, I mean, I this would probably be cool if you could just replace the whole concert, like at Madison Square Garden, like replace the sound system with one of these things hanging out on the roof. I mean, like I feel like I want to see a concert that's only through that thing. Is what I could, you know what I mean? Like, what does that sound like?
No, I mean that's what we do. I mean, like that's our core, call it historical activation business has been concerts.
Oh, I see. So that's just the new sound system for the concert in that business.
Yeah, no. So it's the same cloud. So we're here in DC for 2 weeks, possibly extending. We'll see. And every day it's a different experience. So the sound bath experience is actually only at this point available for 4 days. 4 nights out of 3. That's it. We're already over 50% sold out, and we don't even have any content for it yet. That's like visual. Like I think people are really looking for this kind of thing. And then we have another thing called the Cloudfall experience, which is a kind of family friendly, like, original composition with all the magic and all these new special effects that we're coming out with, sort of like a see and experience the magic of this sound system and all of our special effects and everything. But, kids can go to it, and it's more like a day where it's just an art installation as opposed to a concert. And that's during daytime hours. We have this interactive jukebox bar. I call it the psychotic jukebox bar, where people can come and you want to play your track. You want to play AC/DC, Genie in a Bottle, whatever, right? Like your favorite, your wedding song, like whatever it might be. This is the day you can come and like play it.
That's fucking awesome.
That's wild.
But like you're gonna have to do some challenges. That's why it's called the Psychotic Jukebox Lounge.
Yeah, okay.
And it will be personally emceed by me, and it's gonna get really weird.
That's awesome.
That's actually part of what that little,
finger dildo is. Yeah, got it.
That's why I'm surrounded by so many of these.
That's fucking awesome.
And you said that's family friendly?
Yeah.
No. Psychotic Jukebox Lounge is very, very 21 plus.
Okay.
Type vibes, and then we have our concerts on the weekends. So we have different genres of concerts. on Fridays and Saturdays. We have the cloud fall experience during the day. We have the 15-ton sound bath on certain days. We have the psychotic jukebox lounge on certain days. And, as we continue to explore what is possible with this, sound system, there's, as Tom mentioned, so many different kinds of neurosensory experiences that we can do with it. We are starting with relaxation, right? Like the point of the 15-ton sound bath is this thing is a sound system good for 2,000 people at a time. We are detuning,
which is actually small. If you look at the size of that thing, I would think 2,000 people would be a modest amount of people. Like I would think that would service many more.
I mean, we could crank it up, but we would hurt people in the center. Like there's actually, like, because of inverse square law, like I really just want to make sure that I personally think, and I was going to do a blog post on this, but like sound should not go more than 34 feet is my number. Because once you hit 34 feet, like, I don't think any kind of sound experience concert should ever go over 105, 110 dB peak. Even that, you're already damaging your ears pretty badly. But it feels sick. Like once you hit around, once you hit like 95 dB, you're still in a concert. It still feels like a party, but you can like talk to people.
Right.
Then 90 dB, you kind of start feeling like you're losing it a little bit. And that distance of 110 to 90 is roughly 34 feet.
Wow.
Interesting.
Okay.
Like it's ish, right? And then it depends on body losses, different kind of things. Roughly that's the number. And that's kind of my problem also with like all these giant festivals and things, is that because they didn't solve for multi-point interference, they're trying to do these concerts for, 10,000 people at a time. And the only way they can do it is having these massive subwoofers at the front that are way overpowered. They're blasting at 127 dB or something, and they're like deafening everyone in the front. And then they have line arrays on towers, time synced to like shoot, waves further and further and further. But they can't do that with the bass because it's omnidirectional and it will just start to like really crash. And that's why so much. And then I just think it's stupid. It's like, if you're going to go to a concert, if you're going to a live music event, you should be able to see the artist not as a pinprick on a screen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like all due respect to Coachella, I went to my first Coachella last year and I thought it was stupid. I thought it was stupid to be in a room in a field and have a giant LED screen. And that's how I could see the artist that was playing. I was like, why am I not on YouTube? Right. This is what is the point of live music if it isn't about connection and coming together as people? And that's really what the fundamental point of the cloud was. Like that whole, dancing in a circle is I wanted people to be more connected. I've had people ask me, hey, can you make like a bigger version? And I was like, kinda, maybe, but like I don't want to. Like, we're not trying to make the biggest party, on the party side of things. We're trying to make the best.
Correct.
I want the sound to be pristine in every direction. I want no one to be more than 30 to 50 feet at any point from the artist. If they want to like it's just in every direction, you're good. Because visually, acoustically, everything. And yeah, I mean, we're off topic right now, but like it really is our thesis is give people something really, really good at the right price and like, under promise and over deliver on what that experience is like. And then people will recognize it, because there's a lot of crap out there. There's just, a lot of things becoming very corporate, prices being jacked up, yeah, the sound bath is a little bit expensive, but like, look, we can only fit 17 people underneath it, where I know that they are going to be in the primary section with the visuals right in their eyes and whatnot. Now, here's the thing. It might be too intense for some people. We're going to test it. But I'm going to
we'll find out in a couple days.
Yeah, we're going to start with maximum intensity. And then, could we add another 150 chairs around this thing and like, let people sort of select their level of intensity that they want and do more? Sure. But for now, it's like, it's very, very small. And, when you just, when it's smaller and you have this amount of technology running, just it is what it is.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Tom, I like where this could go, though, from the therapeutic standpoint, because the therapy of frequency and sound and light and all this stuff is like, just like to your earlier point, fucking exploding right now. And if you could treat 1,000 people at a clip, that changes the face of a study, right? Like, I mean, by a lot, you know.
Well, even thinking of this as more of a center rather than an art installation where it's there all the time. And you had that running, hey, it's like, you got your ticket, come on in, sit down, and it's there when you need it is really, really a promising kind of outlook on this. That sounds very cool to me as a therapy.
And how long is this particular experience?
1 hour, 45 minutes.
45 minutes. Okay.
So it's 45 minutes in the acoustic section. The pre-experience, kind of like, elixirs and, supplements and whatnot. Those are like 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after. So it's about an hour out of your day.
All right.
And you're right. Like, if this works really well, if, people, again, I had a guy with a didgeridoo and people said it was life-changing. So I
had a guy blowing into a hollow tube.
I had a guy blowing into a hollow tube. But the thing is, like, not to knock them, is that, like, they're probably doing things that are correct.
You ever tried to circle breathe, though? That shit is fucking difficult.
I actually made a didgeridoo, and no, I could not get the circle breath to work.
Yeah.
They can make it work, but they got... Clearly something is happening there, and like Tom will probably break into why exactly the didgeridoo, or why, what are the theories on why the didgeridoo or the sound bowl, the crystal bowl or whatever it is, or the gong happens to be, I don't know, the most popular stuff right now. Like, I'm sure there's some science to it. And, and that's the thing, like, we had some people that were like, okay, yeah, we could come, record, like, I had a really, actually very well-established guy that wanted to come, do this, this experience design. And I just, since he couldn't explain to me the why, I was like, he's very well respected, but he was like, look, it's just what I've been doing for so many years. I like feel the room. And that's not to get it wrong. Maybe if he really just sat in this room and just did it au naturel and recorded it, it could be incredibly magical, and it could be magical in a different way than Tom's is going to be magical. But because we are, really kind of an engineering, I got out of that hardware tech company and I accidentally fell into another one, I guess.
Yeah.
I like understanding why something is happening. And after I saw the effects of just Tom's, again, Tom's resume is insane. And then just him testing sounds and almost like knocking out the entire room. I was like, okay, this is going to be great. We might have to put like a disclaimer to tell people to come with a designated driver or something.
Yeah,
so
that's funny.
Matt, I was like trying to go like, how do we get down there and get back? I mean, we're only in Baltimore, but like, I don't want to like wake up the next morning outside the club. Go, what the hell happened?
With one of those fingers somewhere.
Yeah, with one of those fingers. Yeah. Where did I acquire this? Yeah.
Exactly.
I must have been real relaxed if I didn't notice that, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah, like we're gonna, I don't know exactly when Tom will have all of those the new ones tracked, but like, you guys should definitely come down and experience it in person. Maybe
we're probably like 45 minutes north of you. Actually, we're not far away at all.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
come on down.
Oh, we'd love to. Yeah.
So you guys want to get into sort of like, I guess, the commercial of this, if you will, like what we want to leave people with?
Where do we send people? Where can they get tickets? Where can they do all of it?
All that fun stuff?
Yeah. So all of the experiences are at fluffycloudexperiences.com. They are on sale right now. They can also be found on Fever, on the ticketing platform. And the 15-ton sound bath is very, very limited. It is over 50% sold out already. It's $100 a person. It is open to all, but we're not really recommending it for people that are too young. Anyone, you don't want to be in your sound bath experience with a 4-year-old that starts to, squirm and cry or something like that. So we're soft suggesting more for kind of 14 and up for that experience. And it's gonna be, the first session will be open on March 31st in the afternoon from 5:30 to 11:30. Those are 1-hour block sessions. So you book your session. We ask for you to arrive 20 to 30 minutes ahead of time so that we can sign you in and sort of start the whole experience. And then we have 3 or 4 more sessions the following week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. or Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and that's it right now for DC. And then we move on to the next city. There's a possibility we might be extending. We're not sure yet. It looks very promising, so we might extend a week or two longer. But for now, we only have 4 nights to experience that. And then most likely we will be either in Las Vegas or LA next.
Yeah, I see a Vegas residency in for something like this. Like
that sounds
you know
like it would
where
be.
it's just basically like a thing, right? It's just it's permanently here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We might look if this has the power that, like, you know, Tom and I have been discussing, you know, across a variety of different kind of effects. I would love to have, you know, again, a slightly smaller version of this and just have like little studios, you know, all over the place. And it's a place where, you know, it just does that, you know, day in and day out, and, you know, as a therapeutic thing. But we need to find the science first.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, before I would be willing to do something like that. You know, and that's the nice thing about having this time here is that we're going to have the ability to do some preliminary testing. Like, not part of the reason also for why not every day is available is that we are, you know, even though we could make money off of those days, we have certain days that are closed on purpose because we are going to be doing some of this more
refinement,
research.
tweaking, those kind of things. Yeah.
Actual research stuff too. No,
research stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, we're going to be doing some, you know, there's one day we're going to be actually putting on, what was it? What was the harp band? What was the band we were going to use, Tom? Did you say what it was?
Well, there's a few ways we can kind of measure. So
we're going to basically look at like heart rate variability as a starting point.
Very cool.
With like wrist,
bring your aura ring, people.
Well, if you're looking for test subjects, hit Matt and I up.
Yeah,
we might, again. We're seeing how it goes, but we're talking with a company that actually has some of these wearables,
right?
And if we, because I don't know, it's a lot of them, right? Like if they can get us some of them for free,
right?
You know,
sure.
we would love to like give people the consent, be like, hey, would you be okay with us, you know, tracking your heart rate variability, which is sort of the
super cool
standard for the tracking of, you know, anxiety.
I'm obsessed with HRV these days. I fucking love it. You know, it's like
so. We're gonna try to collect as much of that as we can, but like when people are paying for their tickets, you know, I don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want to make them elaborate
like, hey,
too.
Yeah, but so on some of these days, we're gonna be, you know, maybe bringing in, you know, kind of more like friends and family free stuff, set them up in certain locations, and actually run through, you know, not just kind of like Tom's experience is going to be a holistic end-to-end entry and exit, like whole thing built.
Yeah.
We want to actually do like research on certain like tones. Like it's not going to be as enjoyable. It's going to be like you're going to be sitting as a lab rat, right? While we like turn to different frequencies, some of which may not feel very nice. That's how we find, you know, in a group of people, where does that work? Where is a commonality in response to certain patterns and this and that? So again, and very clear to hear, by the way, and I have to make this very clear. We are not making any this is my disclaimer.
Yeah, no, we have that disclaimer everywhere.
Effects, you know, until FDA approved, but
Tom,
it looks
I don't want to open up another can of worms, but I'm curious because we talked about a soft age range. Do you have different considerations for kids than adults? Like, does our brains sort of want to see something different in those two seasons of life?
That's a very good point. Because I think also audio perception, you know, babies
very different,
extended hearing range. So we're very careful. So I think the ethics of doing no harm and delivering experiences that are mindful of everybody's, you know, wired differently. Their exposure to certain sensory stimuli. I mean, I'm a very sensitive individual. It's very bizarre that I ended up being a DJ because known as an HSP with all kinds of neurodivergence, actually being in these environments where there's, you know, intense overstimulation is not good for my nervous system. So it's calibrating it in a mindful way that feels safe and feels safety is the big word here.
Yeah, we have to.
If we can nail making your nervous system feel safe, all good, because that's like the sweet spot. When your nervous system, it's not saying to you you need to be safe. It's like you will feel.
Yeah, you are safe. Not you should feel safe. Yeah, exactly.
And we also like, you know, we actually had, you know, because this is so avant-garde, you know, we got a question, and I'm glad that they asked. Where, you know, like Tom knew this, but I didn't ask him the question, right? Like, we had a pregnant woman ask, "Hey, is this pregnancy safe?" And I was like, "Whoa, I didn't even think about that."
Didn't
and I
think
checked
to ask that.
and he was like, "Look, out of the abundance of caution, we're not recommending it because if anything, this is exactly the kind of sound that will penetrate much deeper into the body than anything else. And a baby's hearing is obviously still developing, but again, up until 20 weeks, it's like still barely the cells are starting to connect. Like the and then I start after Tom told me no. I was like, I just kind of went and researched it a little bit deeper. And then, I started seeing that, the WHO, the NIH and whatnot actually do not recommend for pregnant women to be in loud environments for any kind of sustained period of time, which I wasn't aware of. I've gone to parties and festivals and different things, and I've seen like pregnant women there partying, and I just thought they were cool. Now I'm like, oh, okay, well,
that kid's not going to have a good time.
Yeah. Wow.
Guys, I fucking
man,
love
I could talk
everything.
To you guys all day long. This is crazy, fascinating stuff. I just don't even know where we got to go at some point today, but man, God, this is so fascinating. I love that you guys are doing this work.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having us on here. It was really fun talking about the science and everything. And we'll definitely get you guys down here for either the 15-ton sound bath or the 15-ton anxiety trip.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why not? Yeah,
we'll flip the coin.
You'll flip a coin. Surprise me.
And then it's just like nails on a chalkboard with like the sound of like spiders and stuff like all around.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there is a market for that, though. Oddly enough, there is a market for that.
Like
CIA, but yes.
That's fucking.
We're going to do enhanced interrogations under the.
You're going to give people the Havana syndrome.
Yeah. All right, fellas, listen, stick around after this. We got to make sure we're good. But otherwise, man, thanks for coming by.
Oh, God, so much fun, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, take care.
Thank you so much.
Be subversive, irreverent.
Health is wealth, but you knew that.
Everybody knows that.
But so is following us on social media at Irreverent Health. And check out our website for more exclusive content at irreverenthealth.com.
Oh, I like this.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Irreverent Health.